Right, now it's rare that we get to meet a true legend of hip-hop, jazz and R&B, someone in fact who takes credit as one of the first singer-composers to amalgamate all three. Well, get ready to meet Johnny Britt, who at some point in his extensive career was part of the famous Motown record group. As if that isn't enough, Johnny Britt was in the popular movie La La Land and played on the soundtrack of the Golden Globe winning film. He also played on the soundtrack for the movie Dunkirk and is the composer, music director and voice trainer for the award-winning film series The Temptations. He's currently on a mini tour here in the UK promoting his new music project, Marvin Meets Miles. Well, in a minute or so, we'll be speaking with Mr. Johnny Britt himself right here on News Hour. But first, let's get a little taste of his work.
Before we see it, you take it. Ooh, make one whole. Make it one hollow.
A little flavour there of the new Johnny Britt music project, Marvin Meets Miles. Well, let's meet him now. Live in our studios, Mr. Johnny Britt. How
Thank you so much for having
delightful
me.
to meet you, Johnny. Lots of film, music and soundtrack credits to your name. How do you manage to range so easily through so much and more importantly, do it so well?
You know, I have a pretty good foundation. I studied at the Conservatoire of Versailles in France, so I have like a classical background. Then I came up through the rankings in the jazz world, you know, playing jazz. I studied with Richard Williams and other great players, but I came up through jazz, but my roots were gospel and R&B, growing up in Cleveland, Ohio. So
you grew up in Cleveland?
I did.
I went to university in Cincinnati.
Oh,
Ohio,
did you?
And Columbus, Ohio.
Absolutely, yeah.
OSU,
Oh, yeah.
home of the Buckeyes.
Absolutely, absolutely. Go
Xavier,
Bucks.
the Muskies.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so you know, just having all of that, and then by the time I got to LA, you know, I was Otis Williams hired me as the youngest ever musical director for The Temptations. So you know, being a musical director, you know, you kind of learn, you know, in school and of course live experiences, and I jumped right into the studio scene as well as the live scene. I had a record deal with Motown, Mojazz Records, with my group Impromptu, and then I got into behind the scenes, being able to sing on scores, playing trumpet on scores, and actually writing and producing some things as well.
That's quite extraordinary. But let's talk about something that a lot of people can immediately relate to,
Sure.
and that's the soundtrack of that La La Land. You actually appeared in the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, you also, well, one of the performers on the soundtrack.
Yeah,
That's the sort of thing people dream about.
You know, it really is, and you know, I learned a long time ago that you always want to be a part of a hit, whatever it is.
Well,
a hit
yes, it
musical.
helps to be part of a hit,
And
doesn't
when
it?
you get a call, you don't know how big or how small it's going to be. So when I got the call to you know, for the trumpet thing, that solo that I told you about, and the Paris scene, you know, I didn't know. You know, you just go in and you do the thing, and everybody's there, and actually, I have a funny story because when I was playing that solo, they zoomed in on the camera and it hit the horn, and the horn hit my lip, and then you know
they had to reshoot that again, did they?
well, you know, they were concerned because if
Right.
I was damaged, you know, that's a lot of money on that scene with me, you know,
Absolutely.
being featured. But that's kind of want to throw that in there. But no, you never know. And fortunately enough for me, it's an award-winning film, and I'm kind of in the
Absolutely.
center
I
of
mean,
it.
I loved the movie.
Thank
the
you.
choreography was just absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And of course, the music. I've got the soundtrack,
Sure,
actually.
sure.
And now that I know that you're on it, I'll be listening out for your sort of trumpet and so on. But of course, you've got your own personal projects.
Yes.
We heard a little bit of that earlier, Marvin Meets Miles, an album that you know, sounds really quite brilliant. I mean, tell us about how you came to make this very unique album. I mean, why Marvin and Miles?
You know, it's really simple because I'm highly influenced by Miles Davis as a trumpet player.
Brilliant, isn't
And
he?
also, I'm influenced by Marvin Gaye as a vocalist. So for me, it was a hand fit into a glove situation for me. And I thought about the concept a couple years ago, a little more than a couple years ago, and I said, I wonder what it would sound like if I merged the two styles. I didn't know if it had been done or not before. And I did it, and really, it's an independent project, so everyone that hears it, they really, really like the way that I mixed it together. And the way it started, it was gonna be like Miles, in the center, like with a jazz trio, and then Marvin. Then as things developed, it became Miles Davis playing in Marvin Gaye's band. And so that's the whole premise behind how I came up with it, and it was because I was influenced by the two giants. But the crazy thing about it is my publicist, Danielle Holland, told me I should check out this book by Marvin Gaye's wife, Jan Gaye, called After the Dance. And in the book she says that Marvin Gaye and Miles Davis were trying to perform together. She said, I was there on the telephone when they heard the conversation. Marvin wanted Miles to come to Los Angeles, and Miles wanted Marvin to come to New York, and it never happened. So, and I found out about that after I had finished, this record, Marvin Meets Miles. So, I'm
well, that's
so
an endorsement right there.
I should hope so.
But of course, what we've heard a lot of, from you is about jazz, R&B, and hip hop. But you also mentioned you are, you're classically trained, aren't you?
I am classically trained, and I just think that when you're a solid musician, you know how to read, good intonation. You just, classical training. My kids took classical training. I just think that's you don't have to go into it, but to know, what it is.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
but I mean, a lot of the classical work that you do is usually reflected in the soundtrack of movies and stuff.
That's
like
correct.
That
Is
Right?
correct. That's correct.
But you're most of the time you're an R&B singer and a jazz trumpeter.
Yeah, because I think they're two different skill sets. When I go into the recording studio as a singer, I have to be able to sight sing. Like they have to just give me the music, like you're reading your script. I have to read the notes on the paper and make it into music. And the same thing as a trumpet player as well.
It just always amazes me how music essentially is like organized noise, isn't it? You've got little bits of noise and then you organize it, and it's, brilliant.
Absolutely.
So you've also released a new Christmas album in time for Christmas. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it's called, it's called, here's right here, Christmas Time of the Year.
Well, I'll just show it off.
It's brand new.
Christmas Time of the Year.
It has 7 original songs that I wrote. I'm very, very happy about. My 19-year-old son is playing piano on the famous song by Donny Hathaway, this Christmas. So we have that, and we're actually giving this away free online. If you go to johnnybritt.com or noisetrade.com, you can actually get the entire album for free.
Well, that's lovely. That's a lovely Christmas gift.
Thank you, but it's worldwide.
But of course, you're in the UK on a mini tour.
That's right.
As opposed to a major tour. What does that involve?
Well, that involves, we have a series of shows that we're doing. The big show is tomorrow night at the Hideaway, which I'm extremely excited about. It's just about sold out. And but
just in case you want to get your tickets, Hideaway is 2 Empire Mews, Stanthorpe Road, and that's London SW16 2BF.
Yeah, and that website is the hideawaylive.co.uk. So that's the big climax because we're part of the London Jazz Festival. That's what we're doing here.
Right.
And I have a full band, horn sections, full band, and I'm going all out. I'll be doing stuff from Marvin Meets Miles. I'll be doing stuff from my group Impromptu.
Right. That'll be brilliant to see.
Something from the Christmas record. It's gonna be nice.
So Johnny, movies, soundtracks, albums. What's next for you?
I'm really living the dream right now because I'm in control of my own destiny. And quite frankly, I'm going to do this. I'm actually getting ready to release an album. I want to call it songs, but it's going to be just some standard classics that I've done. It's acoustic with piano, with my horn, and my vocals. I just did it in Oregon, and people said, you really need to release this kind of stuff. So I think that might be the next project. Then we'll come back with a Marvin Meets Miles next summer. And, again, the great thing is I can really do whatever I want to do at this point in my career. So I'm
well,
extremely
Johnny,
happy
great
about
to
that.
talk with you, but sit tight. I can see your beautiful instrument sitting on the table there, the trumpet. Just before, in a moment, Johnny will be playing us out, but first, some breaking news. In a television exclusive, Arise has the first pictures of President Mugabe meeting with envoys from South Africa and the head of the army at State House this afternoon. Earlier he'd been escorted there from his house near the capital, Harare. So exclusive pictures there of Robert Mugabe in Harare. Now, Johnny, let's hear you belt out a tune before we go. And it's great to meet you.
Thank you.
Go right ahead.
Rockets, yeah, moonshots, spending on the have-nots, money, we make it, before we see it, you take it, oh, make it wanna holler, the way they do my life, ooh, make it wanna holler, the way they do my life, this ain't living, no, when Marvin meets Miles.